Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of eDiscovery After Hours. My guest this week is Amy McGuigan from Swanson McNamara. My wife is standing behind the computer making faces at me as I record this at the kitchen table. It's good to be back after a year-long break. Hey, I don't know if you were ever a 911 dispatcher or a member of a SWAT team, but Amy was. Talk about that and a heck of a lot more. This is a great episode. I think you're going to really enjoy it. Our sponsor this week is Proteus Discovery Group. Proteus is an e-discovery services and consulting firm that does everything from data collections to e-discovery services and managed document review. Check them out at proteusdiscovery.com. Thanks for tuning in.
Quick time!
You don't know how to drink, your whole generation.
Drinks on the house.
Yes, sir.
No, wait a second. Drinks are 50% off.
Right.
No, wait a second. Double the price of everything.
And I work only 16 hours a day.
A union man only works 8 hours a day.
I belong to 2 unions.
And now, eDiscovery After Hours with your host, Ryan Short.
All right, Amy, welcome to eDiscovery After Hours. Cheers.
Cheers. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. What are we drinking tonight?
I'm drinking California sparkling wine because I can't call it champagne, but I'm God.
As am I, because when you requested sparkling wine, I knew that I would be in trouble if it didn't come from a certain U.S. state and probably a certain region of that U.S. state. So yes, solid choice. Very refreshing on a hot summer night. Well, it's good to be with you for our legions of listeners out there. You and I connected a couple of years ago when you were doing a virtual SIFPA event. I think it was a SIFPA and LAPA joint event for like e-discovery training in November of 2020 or something. So it's been a hot minute, but I'm glad to have you on the show. So, all right. So we're going to kick off with something new. So I recorded like 40 of these and released them a couple of years ago. And now this is the first recording that we're doing back. So I'm going to call them audible, and we're going to insert a lightning round, and we're going to see how our guests do with the audience here. So, Amy, what was the first concert you attended?
Aerosmith. Absolutely. Yeah. I think in 93.
Okay. All right. Little bit after the Toys in the Attic heyday. But yeah. All right. So that was your first concert. What was your favorite concert?
Huey Lewis, the Mountain Winery. I've seen him, oh, man, must be like 15, 20 times.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
Huey Lewis. I know. My husband's glad that he doesn't tour anymore because I don't have to drag him to those anymore. But, yeah, Huey Lewis.
I don't profess to be a super fan. I enjoy his music. My favorite Huey Lewis cameo ever is he's in Reba McEntire's music video for Is There Life Out There? So, yeah, check that out on YouTube for all of you who don't know what I'm talking about. All right, favorite movie?
Princess Bride.
I was not expecting that. Well played. You can have one dessert for the rest of your life. What is it?
Traveling Moose.
All right, no hesitation. Last one. What was the last vacation you took? Where'd you go?
Well, I was just in Boston, but I was presenting for the NALA conference.
Yeah.
I don't really think that's a vacation. One Jamaica.
Oh, Jamaica. That's a good. Yeah, that's what we did our honeymoon in Jamaica.
Oh, neat. Yeah.
It was we had been married for like 14 hours, and I saw an entirely different side of my bride because it was one of those things where you land. We stayed in Ocho Rios, and so it's like a 2-hour bus ride, basically, or shuttle ride from the airport to the resort. And 85% into the drive, the driver stops at his buddy's like roadside jerk chicken stand. And we're all on this way to this all-inclusive resort. And well, she was furious. So that was an treat. Yeah, good times. All right. So thank you for participating in my first ever lightning round. That felt good. That felt really good.
No wrong. I'm glad I had an answer on hand. I didn't have to
You did. There was not a lot of hemming and hawing. I think that. Where are you from originally, Amy?
San Jose, California. I have not gone far in life. I've
I
got
was gonna say, so have you been a Cali girl your whole life?
forever. Yeah, I can't. My husband is from the East Coast, and he keeps threatening that when he retires, he wants to retire like in Boston or no. I'm not going anywhere to like. I'm not living in snow. If I have to like shovel something to get out, no. I also don't think that I could live on the East Coast. Like dry heat, fine. Wet heat, nah.
I do have a soft spot for Boston. Every time I'm there, I'm like, I could live here. And then I pull out my phone and look at my realtor.com app, and I'm like, I could never live here. This is a little salty. So
I don't think I could afford all of the crab that I want to eat over there. I think that would be my undoing.
that's fair. So how did you and your husband meet if he's East Coast guy and you're a West Coast girl?
Harmony.
Oh, very nice. Were you both living in the same area, or did
I was in Fremont at the time, and he was in Discovery Bay, so both in California.
Yeah.
But the fun thing is that we met. We ended up at the same bar when we were in college, and it's a little bar. So we had definitely seen each other before. But he was a professional snowboarder. So he had like long hair and all these piercings and stuff. And I did like a hard pass. I must have. But 15 years later, yeah, we met on eHarmony, and we've been married for 11 years, almost 12.
We just survived the 7-year itch ourselves. We just got to 8 this spring. So I feel safe, at least temporarily.
I just realized my anniversary is in like 3 days. So years.
Well, then happy, I guess by the time this airs, happy belated anniversary.
Thank you.
Nice. All right. So Cali girl, born and raised, San Jose State for undergrad, right?
Yep.
Okay, cool. And then the first thing when I did my extensive research in preparation for the episode by LinkedIn creeping for about 3 minutes is you were a 911 dispatcher. Is that right?
Yep.
How does that happen? Tell me everything.
So I needed a job, and I saw that they were hiring for the city of Palo Alto, and it said it was a communications dispatcher. So I wasn't quite sure like exactly what that was. And I show up to take this test, right? They approved my application, and I go in to take the test, and they put it down in front of me, and it says 911 police communications dispatcher. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure I'm in the wrong room. Like, I'm not signed up for this. And then they're like, no, you're in the right room. But I was too embarrassed to leave. So I just took the test, and it wasn't that bad. And I was one of the top 2 candidates who scored, and so they gave me the job. And
what kind of a test is it?
It's like logical questions. And this was in 98. So it's probably not like this anymore. But it's the logical questions. Like, you have a truck here and a fire over here and another truck over here. And so, like, who do you send? And this one's actually on another call. So would you send this one? And you know, somebody calls you and says this, what's the first thing that you would say, type thing. So most of them are multiple choice. It's just, you know, to figure out if you can reason yourself through like a fact pattern.
Yeah.
It's fun.
And you did that job for how long?
4 years. And I loved it. I worked midnights. I was an adrenaline junkie. I always wanted to work the police side, because we did police, fire, paramedics, animal control, utilities, like everything. And we were card aided dispatch. So it was still CAD, but we didn't have computers where we could send things to the other side or to the police officers. Everything was just on the air. And so as soon as a call would come out, like a foot pursuit or a car pursuit, I was on the floor with the map boats, and I was getting everybody involved. And a lot of the officers kind of liked my energy, so they decided to put me on the SWAT team. So I was on the SWAT team for 3 years, which is neat, except for I had to go dressed up as a SWAT officer. Like, I had to wear the same thing that they did, but I didn't get a bulletproof vest. So, but I was there, like, and they're all running around, and I'm working communications, but I can see, dude, that is the bad guy at the time. It was surreal. It was so much fun, but it was so weird. I kept one of those like flags that I could put on my, like, I'm just a dispatcher.
I'm just a civilian. What can you tell us? Like, what was the craziest call you ever got? Are you allowed to walk us through that?
Yeah, I mean, I think the weirdest one was we get a call. This guy was barricaded in a muffler shop, and SWAT was called out, and the SWAT guy parked way too close to the incident to the incident. And so, like, we couldn't move at that point because then other people had started to, like, get in behind us. And so, like, I dispatched, curled up in a puddle on the floor because I was terrified he was going to, like, shoot in the direction that I was in. Because I'm in, like, a big RV looking thing.
Yes.
It's not bulletproof and all the stuff that the new fancy kids have now. I didn't have any of that, but it was a trip.
That's wild. All right, so you said that you were an adrenaline junkie, right? You're working midnights doing 911 dispatch in a SWAT team. You marry a professional snowboarder. How are you getting your adrenaline kicks today?
I don't. Isn't that sad?
It is what?
I think
Life is short, Amy.
I know. We have 4 dogs. 2 of them are 160-pound little beasties. They're Irish Wolfhounds. I mean, I do criminal law, so I get to, like, live vicariously into the discovery of my cases. But that's about it.
Have you ever skydived?
No.
Bungee jumped?
I did a reverse bungee. That's terrifying. Where you're on the ground and then they shoot you up in the air.
Oh, that's fun, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's a video of that that's hilarious.
We may have to put that as the teaser clip on YouTube.
When it goes up in the air and the harness is tight on you, I'm not screaming. But as soon as I start to come down and the harness loosens up, I just scream and I lose my mind. It's
the one. So I have been skydiving, and my experience, I'd love to go again. In fact, I have a bet with our CEO. If we hit a certain growth number for this year or next year, he's going to go skydiving with me. And he's afraid of heights, so we got to hit it.
nice.
So tell all your friends to send me their work. But I had the exact experience. We're driving to the place, and I'm excited. I'm jacked up. We're getting trained on the ground, and I'm like, this is going to be awesome. You suit up, get in the plane, going in the air. Whole time it's great. He opens the door, and I'm like, I mean, it's all I could do to not pee down my leg. It was so. Then you step out onto this platform, right? So you have your left foot is in the plane, your right foot is on this basically like ski on the outside under the wing, and you're 12,000 feet in the air looking down. It is like, but awesome, like 2 thumbs up, big time recommend. So
I've always wanted to do it, and I know that there are some places to where they'll walk you out backwards so that you don't have that.
Oh,
Lord. So I think I might have to baby out and go that route just so that they don't have to actually do the jump. But
yeah. All right. So you can skip some chapters if you want. You can walk us through your whole career path if you'd like to. But how did you obviously you're not a member of a SWAT team anymore. How did you get introduced into the legal space? How did you start doing what you're doing today?
How did I go from putting criminals in jail to defending criminals?
Your words, not mine.
I worked midnights for so long, and then I was in my 20s, and we were working 14 to 16-hour mandatory shifts, and people got really tired of asking me to do things that I could never do anything because I'm always working.
Yeah.
And so I decided that I wanted like a day job, and I didn't want to work dispatch during the days because all of the calls for service during the day are, this guy's dog's barking, this guy's blocking my driveway, There's a black man walking in my neighborhood.
Oh no.
I know. And so I just couldn't work day shift for dispatch. But I knew I just had this weird feeling like I was never going to be able to have a social life or date anybody but cops. And so I decided I needed a day job, and I accidentally.
It sounds like a quarter life crisis, Amy.
It was. I don't know. I'm like at 20, the old age of 22, I think. And I got the job at the Federal Public Defender, thinking that I was going to be there for 3 months until I found something else. And I worked for the FPD for about 18 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a run. Yeah. Were you a paralegal there? What were you doing there?
I started off as a legal secretary, and then sort of transitioned into a paralegal.
Okay. So then, at what point? This is when, like 2003, 4, or something like that.
2002 to 2015.
Okay. So that is like the window in which e-discovery becomes a thing. So kind of walk us through like how you were introduced into this bizarre world, and like how you figured this out. Because now, I mean, you're involved, you're in SIFPA, you're in Women in E-Discovery, you're doing stuff with the, San Francisco, Bars Paralegal Association. Like, you're this kind of e-discovery guru, right? Holding down the West Coast. So how did you go from, okay, I just took this job thinking it's going to be temporary, and now I'm here forever. And by the way, when I'm here, I'm involved in this industry that is taking shape in real time. Like, talk to me about that.
So, strangely enough, when I was at the FPD, they're so set in their ways, and they're so set with rules. Like, you can only do certain things, you can only use certain programs. So we didn't really deal much with e-discovery. I mean, the government would give us everything in PDF. Getting any sort of a production from there that had emails or any sort of metadata was just unheard of. It's just a PDF with a Bates number at the bottom.
And some agencies still try that.
And then we still work with the government, so that I know. But then I went to my new firm, Swanson McNamara, and they had people that were doing paralegal work, but the two that came before me were really doing paralegal work. They were doing more legal secretary admin stuff. And so there weren't any sort of rules on what I needed to follow, and like, this is what I needed to be doing. And so I just sort of went gangbangers and started learning every program that I could get my hands on, trying to figure out how to talk the boss into signing up for Logical, right? When before it's like CaseMap, it's fine. Everybody's on CaseMap. We don't need all this stuff. And then sort of walking them through what some of the things will do. And I just find it, e-discovery is just so fascinating. And it's like every day there's something new that you can learn. Like, your trash can narc on you, right? If you have like a fancy one, or Alexa knows everything that you do at all times. And I collect certificates, you can tell, and I just
Really beautiful. Yeah.
I just need to read up on everything, because you never know when it's going to come in handy. You never know when knowing what a certain type of car has a certain chip, and that car, will know everything. If I'm trying to figure out something for a criminal case, what sort of information lies in a cell phone that I could get my hands on for a client. Also knowing what kind of information is in a cell phone if the government has my client's cell phone. Are they going to be able to get Snapchat? Are they going to be able to get these other things? Because then we can talk to the client and sort of not get around it, but like figure out where the mines are going to lie before we actually go into a meeting. And they're like, what about this? So
I'm sure I don't know what you're talking
about. Well, you see it from the other end. If you end up reviewing any of the stuff that you're rolling down.
So I ran through. Well, first of all, before we go there, you mentioned, just like re-upping on your certifications and like staying, current on all of this technology. What are the ways that you do that, right? And let's just say here, there is no paid sponsor of this podcast. Like, names are not endorsements or criticisms or all opinions are our own. But like, what are there certain blogs or podcasts or webinars that you really have benefited a lot from that you would recommend to somebody coming into the space?
I follow ASEDS. ASEDS is great because they have a lot of free classes. Same with Xtero, eDiscovery Today. Your company does it. There's one more. Which one's Doug Austin?
That's eDiscovery Today. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Doug, he's been independent for 3 or 4 years. He's great, right? Because so he has software and service providers who sponsored him, so they'll like share their news. But he's just got a pulse in the industry. He knows everybody. He and Kelly Twigger with the Discovery Assistant collaborate and put out a lot of really great case law. So yeah, those are solid recommendations.
Oh, and ERM. I forgot about ERM. Mary Mack and Kaylee Wiles said they're nice to follow. And also just LinkedIn. If you can put into your LinkedIn that you're interested in e-discovery, then you just follow all the people that seem to be doing the sort of things that you like to be doing. Like, I love trial. I'll do a trial any day, every day. So I follow a lot of trial texts.
You like sitting in a hot seat?
Oh, yeah.
Better you than me. No, thank you. But I will fly you out next time somebody taps me in the shoulder.
I love it. I do. Every time we have a case, I'm not the only paralegal in my firm, but every time we have a case, I'm like, you're bringing me to court, right? I'm going with you. And we had one case with a large company, to where there were like 15 defendants. It's a civil case. And I knew that they were going to go with a hot seat tech. And it like seriously broke my little heart that I wasn't going to.
There's always next time. There's going to be another person who is alleged to have done wrong, and you'll get to be there. We mentioned earlier kind of the list of some of the organizations that you're involved with, right? And I'll run through them again. Correct me if I've overlooked anything, but San Francisco Paralegal Association, Women in e-Discovery. I think you're involved with NAPA, or National Federation of Paralegal Association, or both. San Francisco Bar Association Paralegal Section. Like, you are everywhere. First of all,
I like to have free time.
I was going to say, so first of all, when do you build time or sleep? And secondly, what's the, like, that's the quasi but then in all sincerity, what is the driver to do this? Why, instead of somebody, punching the clock, so to speak, and just doing their job and clocking off and going to living their life, why go be involved with some of these organizations and spend the time and why do that? What's the purpose? What's the benefit?
So, when I was a legal secretary, I fought to become a paralegal, but I didn't really know how to go about doing it. And I didn't know that all of these associations existed. And so I sort of stayed miserable in my job for 17 years. Sorry if anybody sees this. I tell. But it was, I don't know, if I can help one person make their life easier by not going the route that I did, then I feel good about it. And I sort of want to make sure that, the San Francisco Paralegal Association, we're putting forward educational topics that are topical and not just throwing out trust in estates trainings all the time, which is what sort of we ended up doing. And seeing with the bar, I like participating. So I'm the chair of the paralegal section of the San Francisco Bar. I kind of like being involved in that and sort of showing the attorneys that, paralegals are super useful parts of your firm. And, we just don't have to do certain admin tasks, and you can assign us to do, nothing that involves the unauthorized practice of law, right? But we can help you draft things. We can help you do legal research. We could go through the discovery and, maybe find the smoking gun for you in a case. And some of us are really good at it. Like, my forte for a while in my office was, if you put a surveillance video in front of me, I will find what you were looking for. And I love it. I watched surveillance video for like 3 weeks straight of just people walking around. And unfortunately for us, I found our client and he wasn't supposed to be there that day. But it was helpful because then we were able to like not go to trial, right?
Yeah.
You don't want to go to trial and there's this bad evidence that's right there in front of you. So
Yeah. Well, and to your point now about staying, current in tech, like there are certainly still instances in which you're going to have to watch 3 weeks of surveillance video, but like there is so much AI now built in around like body cam footage and dash cam footage and the automatic transcriptions and the ability to jump to, these kinds of like prompts, and it'll queue up that part of the feed. Like it's incredible staying on top of all this. So but kind of, move to wrap things up. We were talking before we started recording about, kind of your encouragement to paralegals about like not shying away from, discovery. And it's like, hey, you're going to get on board or you're not going to, you're probably not going to have a job. Like talk to me a little bit about what your perspective is on, paralegals and their role in the discovery process.
It's not, it's not scary, right? It kind of is in the beginning, but it's not, it's not like it's a root canal and it's painful. You have to start reading up on things. And, once you do, it's going to terrify you the amount of information about yourself that's out there. But it's good to know what is floating out there in the other reasons about yourself. And, the e-discovery is just changing every day. And you're going to have to learn how to produce it. Whether you're going through other companies to do like the collection and the analysis, you're going to have to produce it. You're going to have to know, are the redactions good? Did the metadata get redacted? Not that it's going to be all your responsibility, but knowing that information and knowing that attorneys probably, unless they're interested in discovery, don't want to touch that with a 15-foot pole. And so if you have that knowledge, then you're way more valuable to your bosses, to the firm. And, the days of just going through paper discovery is getting farther and fewer in between. And, you're going to have to just deal with metadata, build, e-discovery productions. And so, it's nice to know how to deal with it and what it involves and like what the animal looks like. And then, slowly get yourself to a more comfortable position in dealing with it. And just stay on top of it and, collect some certificates and get some training.
Yeah, your point is so like it can't be overstated that your like people think, oh, like my company or my firm or my boss, I'm underpaid or I'm this or I'm that. It's like, well, the market sets wages, right? Like not your company, not your boss, but your value goes up immensely to an organization if you have the knowledge and the drive and the ability to do things that other people don't want to do or cannot do. And to your point, there are some very sophisticated, energetic, competent, knowledgeable e-discovery attorneys or e-discovery savvy litigators out there, but 95% of them can barely spell e-discovery. They want nothing to do with it, right? And so you're so immensely valuable if you are the person who can take that off their hands, even if you're in a situation wherein, your matter types are too large or too complex or too insert adjective here, where, if you're not doing something in-house, if you can cut through the vendor fluff and the marketing smoke that they blow and actually understand their capabilities, their workflows, right? What they're good and bad at, et cetera. Like, that's so valuable, right? Because discovery is such a massive piece of the economic pie. So yeah, I can't emphasize your point enough. Well said.
Well, and just to be able to QC what it is that you're sending out, right?
Yeah.
So, like, makes you wonder if somebody on the Alex Jones team, looked at the stupid drive where they sent it out that had the whole flipping cell phone on it. Then it wouldn't be this huge embarrassing issue of it went out, and because
Right.
I had no idea about what they could find on that cell phone. I mean, if you had somebody on their team that kind of knew something.
I mean, that was a case study in stupid, but thank God it happened because, I mean, come on. Like, that was just, that was poetic. That was beautiful. Well, Amy, thank you so much for coming to the show. This was awesome. If people want to reach out to you, if they have questions, if they are looking for organizations or ideas or advice, where can they reach you?
Hit me up on my LinkedIn. I love getting followers on my LinkedIn. I always tell people that. Or message me. My email's on my LinkedIn. You could get me through the San Francisco Paralegal Association, the Bar Association of San Francisco. I'm the director of the San Francisco chapter in Women in New Discovery. Lots of places.
Okay. Awesome. Well, cheers.
Cheers. Thanks for having me on. It's great to talk to you.